Welcome to What's the Effort?
What the F?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I would like to say welcome to Siggy.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you coming. And hi, Michelle. Nice to see you. So you're the youngest guest I've had to date. And I've had a number of inquiries like, what? And I'm like, just bring your teenagers. So I'm hoping that we're going to have some teenagers joining us because it's always good to see an example of someone who may be doing something that you yourself would be interested in. You don't have to always just look up at adults. These days, the internet has been a very big equalizer for age, because whether you're old or whether you're young or whether you're in between, doesn't matter. It's such a huge area that I think that that's one of the nice things about the internet. So thank you very much for coming on. Now, Siggy, I'm assuming, how old are you?
I'm 15, but I'm turning 16 in 3 days.
Happy birthday. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Do you go to school or are you homeschooled?
I go to school.
Okay. And how do your parents feel about you being involved in a business at such a young age?
Yeah, I mean, they have a little bit of mixed feelings. Obviously, they're proud of some of the achievements I've made, but it takes up a lot of time, and they would probably want me to focus more on school and other things. But,
okay. Let's talk about those other things. When you, before you started this, were you in any kind of sports or anything like that?
Yeah, I did martial arts before I started this, and in the start of doing this, but I still do. And then I stopped doing that, but I still go to a gym and work out still.
But any other, no team sports or theater or any of that stuff?
No, nothing like that.
Okay. And I want to come back to the question. Well, I'll ask it now. Do you intend to go to college?
Not at all.
Why not?
I just don't feel like if I can go ahead and make money now, I just don't see it being worth my time. Just because I'm gonna have to take 4 years and I'm gonna have to spend money on it, and it's gonna be a lot of time that I could have used to keep growing my business, to keep doing other things. And so, with the amount of money that I'm making at this age, I just don't see it being I just don't see that being relevant for me right now.
And yet you have one more year of high school. Is that right?
Yeah, I have 2 more years.
2 more. Okay. That's interesting. So Michelle is asking where you're from. And I'm sorry I didn't state that. Could you tell us where you are?
I'm from Norway.
All right. So again, the internet is a great equalizer for that sort of thing too. Doesn't matter where you are. Even, of course, we've got Jesse in Alaska. We've got people everywhere. And that's the cool thing about it. So let's talk a little bit about how we met before we get into what is it that you do. You had contacted me online back in June of this year. And you had offered to do some free video for me on my social media that you had noticed. And I was taken by that, meaning like, oh, that's interesting because I get a lot of solicitation. Most of the time they're from Egypt or India or you name it, China. But I noticed you were from Norway and that you were offering to do something for free versus what most people did, which is to say, are you willing to give me money? Which is why our relationship started, because I used to be a teacher, so I'm always interested in younger people anyhow. But seeing your age and the way that you approached it made me uh, open to speaking with you. And here we are. You're my guest. Tell me why you chose that approach.
Yeah, I've always chose to lead with value up front, and that's sort of the way that I've built up my entire client base, pretty much. And that's just been because I noticed that, especially when starting, I didn't have much authority at all, and so to be able to sort of get out there, I had to provide free value to people, and been the strategy that I've been using so far, and it's been something that I've continued to use.
And where did you come across that idea?
I actually had a mentor that told me that that was what he did,
Okay,
and so I copied that and I started getting way better results.
great. So tell me when you first started playing with the computer and graphics and short form content. When did you start on that?
I was probably about 11 or 12. I used to play a lot of video games, and I would make edits of montages from video games. And
Interesting.
that's how I sort of got into editing. And so that's when I wanted to start a business, I knew that was okay, this is a skill set that I have.
Were you doing it for yourself and just for fun, or were you
Just for
uh,
myself, just for
just for
fun.
yourself? And then you realized, wait, there's a market for this skill.
Yeah, exactly. So it was not more like it wasn't just I was editing videos and then I was like I could sell this. It was more something where I learned to edit videos a long time ago, and then I want to make some money. What can I sell? I tried a lot of different things. I ran a website, which didn't go too well. I used to flip shoes. I actually made money off that, but
Oh,
there was
cool.
it was not a lot of leverage in flipping shoes, and so I decided I need to build a business where I want to deliver service. I decided to go for something service based because that just then I just have to deliver the service. I can just learn a skill and sell it to business owners. Whereas if I would need to build the entire business myself, I need a way broader skill set and network. So I started, and then I looked into the what I could sell, and I decided video editing was where I should the route that I should head down. And so because I knew I could edit videos, and then I signed my first client. I think it was just 1 month after, and yeah,
How'd
pretty
you
much
find that client?
on YouTube, and then a message on Instagram.
Did you approach him the way you approached me, or did he?
No, no, I didn't know that back then. So I just said, "Have you thought about turning your YouTube videos into reels and shorts?" And he was quite intrigued. So that worked out. That worked out quite well. And what happened was that when I sold the video editing, I realized to be able to get sort of people on a monthly retainer,
Mhm.
because what most video editors do is that they charge on a per video basis, and so they have no consistent revenue stream, and also they're not providing a lot of value. They're not indispensable. And so I kind of decided to expand my offer into offering also the IDs, offering to coach them when they're filming the content, and also posting the content for them. And
Oh, so
yeah,
you posted for them too.
yeah,
Oh, that's a godsend. Sorry, I really don't. Posting is very laborious. And I don't know if it's just that I don't know what I'm doing, or if there are any tricks, but I do feel that, having someone post for you frees up your time for sure. And when you first started, what was the hardest thing for you
getting clients to pay me enough.
to pay you enough? Well, who was
Yeah.
setting your price?
Well, the problem was not necessarily the problem was that I couldn't charge enough because I was looking in the wrong niches. I started with working with YouTubers, and that came with a lot of problems because they usually don't have a lot of money, so they can't pay me a lot of money. And the service is not that valuable because for them, sure, they free up time when someone posts for them, but they don't make a lot of money in that time, right? So, but what I did was that I pretty much for the first 6 months to a year of running this, I reinvested all my money into mentorships, and that kind of led me down to targeting real estate investors. And what I found out was that I could charge way more because my offer is way more valuable to them. Because
That's
for
interesting.
them, it's way more valuable to have more time because their time is worth more.
Right.
So if I free
That's
up their time,
yeah. That's
then
something we definitely pursue, meaning that the big people, the big gurus are all like, you have to be online. You've got to be out there. You have to open your door and open your heart to what's the whole world. But it's very time consuming. Wait, it's time consuming. Get it done for you. So that is something that is actually being told quite a bit, and I can see it. Now, I like any and all of my guests, I did go through some of your things, and I was interested in a couple of things I saw. Nick Lauer, am I pronouncing it correctly? Is it
Nick
Lauer?
Lauer, Nick
Lauer,
Lauer, yes,
who is an American in Tennessee, um, and started doing his short form content agency 2 years ago. Now I think he's at 20K a month, which is not bad.
more. Yeah, he's more. He closed. He's closing some really big deals now. So he has individual clients paying him over 10K a month. So he's doing really
Wonderful.
well. Yeah.
Wonderful. And he's like 20. He
Yeah.
also didn't go to, well, he did go to college a little bit, but not much. He realized it's not
He
worth it.
he bought one. I think he registered. He signed up for one class,
Hmm.
but he never took it.
Yep.
He was
Yep.
like an online class. He never took.
Exactly. So um, I know that you reached out to him because I've seen some of your interviews. Why and what happened when you did that?
Yeah, I reached out to him. I think this was May 2023. And I said, "Hey, I need help with my agency. Can you help me?" And it was kind of perfect timing because he was launching a coaching program at the time. So what ended up happening is he said that he could coach me for free because he wanted to see type of results he could get and what it would look like. So we went ahead and got started, and he helped me. Yeah, he mentored me and helped me scale the business up. So he got me into the real estate space actually by getting me a client that was a lender, but then like he was a mortgage lender. But then I got more into the investing side once I realized that real estate agents are not typically a good target either.
No.
So, but yeah, he helped me a lot in the start, and he
I
actually
love
came
that story.
to
I love
yeah
that.
he came to Norway this January.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. It's interesting that you would have the audacity almost to reach out to someone who was already established and that you didn't know, blah, 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 blah. And yet you ended up, if I understand it correctly, you were kind of like his beta tester.
yeah. So I was very lucky with the timing.
Nice. Very, very nice. And I'm glad that he came to Norway. Did you get to meet him?
Yeah, I mean we stayed at the same place. So up where my family has our cabin. He rented an apartment there with his friend. So we went skiing there. We even filmed the podcast too. So it was fun.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, that is a bit of an amazement, isn't it? When you meet these people online, you start a relationship, and after a while, you're like, I hope I meet you. And you end up meeting them. You're like,
Yeah, it was really
yeah,
interesting.
those sort of things never happened before the internet. So that's kind of cool. Um, so I thought that was a very interesting thing that you posted on your own IG is the interview that you had done with Nick and how you came to him. I think that's pretty cool, to be honest. And the other person that you um, talked about and I thought was interesting was an Australian of Liam Denby.
Liam Debney, yes.
Yep. And he's 15 also.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's 16 now, but yeah,
He's
we're
16 now.
same
Tell us
age group.
what he's doing. And I know that you asked him a question about what's the easiest business model for beginners to start a business.
Yeah, me and Liam. So it's quite a story because Liam, I actually coached him for free back in. This was a long time ago. I was making around 1K a month at this time. I think it was like about August 2023, And so he ended up scaling his agency, and now he's scaling quite far, even further than mine. So yeah, and then we met up in Bali. So my family was traveling to Bali, and then he ended up actually paying for the trip with his family.
He
So it was
brought
fun.
his family and paid for them.
Yeah,
All right. I think the last time I saw, he was doing around 10K a month, which is pretty impressive.
yeah, he does around 10K a month.
Yep. May I ask where you're at?
I'm at about 5K per month.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how many of your children are making 5K a month and still in school? I think that is pretty sweet to say the least. And, I'm glad that this is, I've had a couple people say to me, I can't come, but I'm going to force my kids to watch tonight or the next day. I'm like, good. That's the nice thing about um, the internet. Things do live there forever. So I hope other people get inspiration from that, because that is so cool. That is so cool, from the safety and comfort of your own home. Because one of the things we worry about with young people working is safety. You're um, still developing, and as a result, uh, your youth could set you up for being taken advantage of. So that's why there are laws. That's why parents do fuss. And how cool is it that you've got this Aussie and this Norwegian, and they're both about the same age, and they're making a nice amount of money right from their homes? And then the Aussie takes his parents to Bali. I think that's cool. Do you have
Yeah,
siblings,
I have a sister. Yes,
younger or older?
older.
What does she think about your success?
I'm sure she's impressed.
Is she in college or is she in high school also?
She's on her last year of high school.
Okay. Has she ever asked you, hey, I want to get in on this?
No, she has never. But she does very well in school, so I think she intends to just do well in school and then do well in college.
Oh, that's interesting. That is very interesting. And the mentors, who are your mentors?
Yeah, I've had a couple different ones. Like I said, Nick Lauer.
Hmm.
He has mentored me a lot. As well as that, I've had a lot of clients that have helped me, and that's because
Good.
when I've aimed for clients, I've always aimed for people that I can learn from.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons is because obviously the people that I can learn from, they typically have money, so they have capital to buy my service. But then that also makes it super valuable for me, because when I'm on a 2 hour call with them to shoot all their content, it's sort of like a free coaching call. But instead of me paying them, they're sort of paying me. So I've had the ability to learn from a lot of them. One of my clients right now, he is helping me a lot with running ads for my clients, because he's done that a lot more than I have. And then, yes, I've had Nick Lauer. I've bought a couple other mentorships. I bought one from a person called Noah Wade, Benjamin Madsen. He's in Denmark. And then I used to have an office here in Norway. I canceled it once I got back in school. When I had summer vacation, I rented an office. But then, as well as that, there was an agency to the office next door that
Oh,
also helped me a lot. So I've had a lot of people throughout.
that's nice. That's very nice. And I think that that's one of the advantages of being young. And also, it's part of the learning to give and to give back. So I'm sure that as you get older and some young person reaches out to you, as busy as you might be, your heartstrings will tug at you and go, hey, Siggy, remember? And he'll be
Yes.
like, yeah, I remember. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to this kid, you know, and pay it forward, so to speak. Um, with real estate, do you have any ambitions about real estate?
Well, I think investing in real estate is something that I want to get into down the line. It's a little bit hard to do right now, considering my age and all the legal implications with buying real estate at this age, and also the fact that the capital that I have is limited too, and buying houses and apartments here in Norway is very expensive. I do currently invest a lot in stocks, so I own multiple Norwegian companies, but yeah, I want to get that into real estate down the line. I find it very interesting. The thing about real estate compared to stocks is I like that it's physical, that you can see it and touch it.
Hmm. Yes. And also, I'm not sure how the taxes work in Norway, but in America, you get tax privileges for being a real estate investor. So that always helps. And it's one of the reasons people will travel and buy. They'll travel and they'll say, "Yeah, I want an Airbnb here, so
Yeah,
I can come here." So
yeah. In
that
Norway, the tax laws are a bit more. Yeah, you need to own an LLC to be able to do the write-offs at least, and I need to be 18 to even get an LLC. So it's a bit hard to buy real estate now, but I'm building up the capital base to be able to do it in the future.
good, good. May Your father, is he a businessman or is he an educator or what? Could
No, he works at a pharmaceutical company.
Okay, so then he is an employee of a company.
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes if the father is already an investor, they can show you some of the ways, even if it's not in real
He
estate.
he runs a he has an apartment though that he's renting out.
Oh, nice, good, good. And what about? I've heard you quote Alex Hormozy. Why?
I think that was, yeah, that was one of my first videos I made about Alex Ramosi. That was my actual first video. It got the reason I did is it because the reason I did it is because I sort of borrowed authority. I was just a random kid. This was my first video. So I said, instead of saying, here's why I should do this, I just said, here's why Alex Ramosi does this. And so the first video I made got 25,000 views.
Wow,
And so I was like, okay, I should do this again. I made the same video, but it didn't perform as well. But yeah, the reason I mentioned Alex Ramosi was because he is super big. And so I sort of borrowed authority from him instead of telling people, here's what you should do.
got it. That's smart. Michelle wants to know about routines. She's aware
Yeah.
that it's 10:24 in Norway. What time do you normally go to bed?
Yeah, it depends. I try to go to bed early. I track my sleep and everything. So I try to get good sleep, but it's difficult because there's a lot that I need to do. And also because a lot of my clients are in the States, sometimes I have to take late meetings. So yeah, it'll vary. Ideally, I want to try to go to bed at around 11, but sometimes it'll be later.
Gotcha, gotcha. And what time does school start in Norway? What's the school day?
It's 8:30 or
Okay,
10 over 10. And then we end 4 p.m. most days.
4 p.m.
Yeah, most
8:30
days.
to 4.
Yeah, those are the long days. And then 3 days a week we start 10.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, that's interesting. The school day is different in each country, and just for everyone, for anybody in the world, be grateful that you're not Korean. Having been an ESL teacher, I used to have that exercise of making them get in their own groups, and they had to talk about their school life. And then only after they'd committed it to paper did I allow them to go to the board and write down, when does school start, when does school end, what do you do, da 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 da. And the Koreans have a really tough time, but they
Yeah.
also they also have a very high suicide rate. It's terrible. But anyhow, sorry for getting off topic. But so your core service that you're looking to offer is short form content?
Yeah, it's short form content. But I've been doing more of other stuff lately. I have built websites, or I have a website designer. I don't build them myself, but I've gotten into offering a couple different services lately. I've also run ads for a couple clients, so but it's mainly content.
What sort of services are you offering, and how do you run ads? Because I haven't run any ads. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, so it really depends with when it comes to ads, it really depends on the company. So if we're running, let's say for a coach who sells a program, it will typically be a talking head video with the call outs saying, for example, if you're a real estate investor with 5 units and you want to scale up to 20 units, or some sort of call out, and it'll be a talking head video. But if we're doing it for a company that sells, or let's say an app or software, or let's say an app like an app that will show you what your electricity bill is and cheaper electricity bills that you can get, or some sort of app like that, then we often make what's called UGC ads, where you hire a creator to say to make it seem like a customer is talking about the product. So you'll often see these ads where people are like, I bought this massage gun for 7 days and here's what happened. And so that we'll use UGC ads for companies that sell direct to consumer or apps.
So then those are paid actors?
Yeah, they're paid actors.
All right. Okay, I'm never going to believe them again. That's funny. I always thought that they were testimonials from real customers. Oh, that is
Oh,
hysterical.
never. They're never testimonials from real customers.
Why not? Wouldn't that be valuable?
Yeah, it would, but the thing is that customers, if you buy a product and you like it, one thing is to leave a review on the website, but if they're going to tell you, hey, here's the script, can you record this scene in this location, blah, 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 and say this and do this. And when you pay an actor, you have so much more flexibility
Yeah.
with what they're going to do in the script. So, like,
Yeah,
and as a customer, you don't want to just do a bunch of work for the company for free.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's interesting. What are your long-term goals?
What are my long term goals? Well,
Yeah,
obviously, I
and
want to
that's a
build.
tricky question because of your age. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to be 16 in a couple of days. What is long term for you? Because when you get to be my age, long term means what do I want to accomplish for my granddaughter's granddaughter? I'm looking in the future. It's hard for that sort of insight at your age. So, have you thought about what you want to accomplish and what kind of time period?
Yeah. So I definitely want to be a billionaire in Norwegian kroners, which is about 100 million in dollars.
Okay.
But I haven't specifically thought about the time period. But I mean, I really want to build up right now. I'm not too, I haven't thought too much of it. What are my long term goals? But right now, I just want to focus on making as much as possible. So when I get out of school, I will one have the ability to travel around. I'll have the net, and I'm focusing on building my network right now so that I can have that in the future, and also building up the capital to be able to invest that money and place it
Interesting.
further in the future. So yeah, I
So,
haven't thought too much of it. What are my long term goals?
and are you going to? You've said you want to travel. Are you when you turn 18? I'm not sure what the culture of Norway is. Are you expected to move out, or do you usually move out once you've got yourself established? What's the story? What's the situation? Uh,
Most people at least move out when they go to uni,
okay.
so they'll move out when they start university.
And do they come back after?
No, unless they like
I
end
like
up
the way you
completely
say that.
broke.
No.
Unless, I mean, unless they end up in some horrible situation, they usually won't come back.
They'll go off and start the career, even if it's in the same town.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's culture here.
Yep. Yep. That's interesting. That can change. So then, if I understand correctly, your goal would be to be increasing your business such that when you do finish high school, you can move out and continue with your business, and keep the funds coming in, travel, and what else do you want to do with your capital?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is just so that I can get into investment opportunities in the future. But like besides that, I would like to spend it on. I would. There's a lot of people that I would like to meet that I've connected with, and I just can't do that. Not even just because I don't have the capital, but also because I'm limited due to my age and that sort of stuff. So I mean, I don't. Yeah, I just want to invest the money and probably just travel. Just use it for investing and living expenses, really.
Got you. Um, who do you want to model yourself after? Do you have people that you aspire to? In this group, there are people from all sorts of groups, but Pace Morby, is probably the person that most people look up to. They don't aspire to be him because, although he's well worth more than 100 million, he's got a life that not everybody wants. It's so big, you know. But do you look at any of the people that are in your society and or American, on the internet, whatever, and you think I could do that, and I'd like to be like that person?
Yeah, I mean, one entrepreneur that I really like is he's in Norway. His name is Petter Stordalen. He's
Whoa, whoa. Okay, I gotta ask for spelling on that. How do you spell it?
should I just write it in the chat here?
Yeah, write it in the chat.
But yeah, he's in the top 10 richest in Norway. But what I find very interesting is that he started pretty much from nowhere, and he's built himself up. And I mean, he runs hotels here in Norway. But
Oh,
he's a great entrepreneur. I've heard one of his speeches live, and he also posts stuff on social media. I know the guy who does his social media, and yeah, he's just some guy with a lot of energy, enthusiasm for what he does, and yeah, he's great at what he does.
nice. Are his hotels in Norway or are they international?
Scandinavia.
Scandinavia. Okay. So, if you were given the opportunity, um, is that somebody you would like to shadow or to learn from?
Well, I'm not too sort of tied up in the specific business. It's not something that, like, where I have a passion for. I want to run hotels, right? Or I want to do this and this. It's sort of I'll see as I go what makes the most sense for me.
Hmm. So you're finding your way.
Yeah,
That is interesting. If you could ask Peter one question, what would you ask him?
it's a good question. I'm not sure right now. If you give me some time to think about that, but yeah, I would. Yeah, that's a tough question.
Okay, we can come back to it. And or you can let me know later.
Yeah,
And who knows, maybe you'll get to ask him. You never can tell. But I do think that having people that are more than one or two steps ahead of you and that know a heck of a lot, it's fun to think, okay, what would I do if I was having dinner with this person? What would I say to them? What would I want to know? Or if it was something you had a passion in, I want to shadow him. I think I mentioned to you that Alexis Morgan is coming on next week, and she's in our community, and she wanted to learn about lending, and she started by going directly to one of the kingpins, who also is worth probably as much as Peter, if not more, and he just took her under his wing and put her to work, and now
yeah. Well,
she's growing like
Peter
crazy
is uh Peter is a billionaire in dollars.
in American dollars.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
he's quite
Hey,
well
one of
off.
you guys, how much is Abraham worth? I know the last time I had looked, it was well over 100. But yeah, billion is an extra zero, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what? If you're not afraid to approach um, the people that you have already, what's the difference?
What's your question?
Well,
What's the
I'm just
difference
saying,
between?
even though he's a billionaire, if he's in your geographic area, uh, there is actually the opportunity to think, what do I want to know from that guy? And ask.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that it wouldn't be very specific. With my mentors, I could ask something like, "Hey, which one of these ad sets do you think would perform best?" For him, it would probably be something higher level about how he looks at entrepreneurship
Exactly.
or something like that. So it's not something that I've thought about what question I would ask him yet. But
Hmm. Now, you had said that when you had met Liam, you actually coached him a bit. Have you helped anyone else?
Well, I haven't, not really, not one to one in the same way that I did with Liam.
Okay. Any interest in that?
Maybe down the line, but I just don't feel like where I'm at right now that I want to sell coaching.
Got it.
Maybe once I feel like that would be more valuable, then I would get into it.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's one thing about the internet. Thank you, Brandy. Um, hey, Brandy, Google pays. I want to know if he's worth more. That's so funny. When I first met Abraham and realized he's worth more than Pace at that time, I was like, wow, but I don't know. I'm taking these side steps here. This is what happens when you have a little community and it's your own podcast, and you're like, I'm going to ask the question because I want to, and it's mine. That's funny. That's so funny. So, what else could you give as advice to people who would be starting off in a similar way to how you did? They're gamers, or they did some editing for a class project or family, and damn, they like it and they're pretty good. What sort of advice would you give them? Or what would you say to yourself looking back 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to not be afraid of what other people would think. A lot of people, they want to get into this, but they don't want to start their personal brand, and they don't want to post content, and they don't want to put themselves out there. And if you don't do that, then it's not going to work. So that's sort of the best advice that I would give is if you're too worried about what other people think about you, then maybe you're just not, maybe entrepreneurship is not suitable for you.
Interesting. Interesting. Is that what you would have given as advice to yourself too?
Yeah, and I got that advice, and that's how I ended up starting my personal brand actually.
Interesting. Okay, so how do you portray or describe your personal brand?
How I would describe my personal brand.
Yeah, like Siggy is what I know you as, and that's what I think. Now, I didn't want to use your last name just because I needed you to say it was okay. And I wonder, how would you market yourself? Like, what's the presentation you put forward? I was given what the effie, because I swear, but I won't swear on this episode. And it's a lot of the time it's what the F, and F is my nickname, so I'm like, and then I got that as I was branded by it. But how would you describe your brand?
Yeah, funny thing about the name is my name is actually Sigurd, but the reason I switched it to Siggy is when I've worked with people in America, they never pronounce it right. So I just gave up. But the videos that I've made, it's not really to go viral. You'll see a lot of kids these days. I don't know if you've seen it, but they'll sort of embarrass themselves to get views. It's been
Yeah,
like a popular
yes, I
thing.
have. Yep.
A lot of teenagers, they will try to get views by making stupid videos that just embarrass themselves just to get followers, just to get views. I've never tried to do that. I would rather make videos that about me and my story that are niche to content marketing and get less views. And then when I reach out to someone, they can go on my page and they can see and they can learn about me. So that's the mentality that I've had about it, is I just want to build a personal brand around me, around my niche, and not sort of, I don't want to just embarrass myself to get views, or I don't want to just chase virality.
I think that's very smart. That's very smart. Um, you know, when we look at people that we're going to give our money to, in other words, that we're going to hire or go into partnerships with or network with, that sort of thing, how they do present themselves is important. And I think that with the internet, sometimes people forget that. They're impulsive and they will go for those numbers. And then later they're like, oh my God, but it's always out there. Yeah. So I think that's pretty smart, especially for someone your age, because it is pretty popular to, see pretty stupid things, spend 2 seconds on on a reel, as opposed to having someone look into you. Now, one of the things that did surprise me a little bit, just because I was told you got to have a YouTube. I was like, what? What? Okay, YouTube. How does that work? IG, YouTube, go. I'm like, what? And you are holding back. So you're big on IG. Hey, guys, you see Siggy's name. Please take a moment and go and follow him on IG. And those of you who are watching in the future, go and check them out. There'll be even more then. But when I went to look for YouTube, I saw a placeholder, but that you haven't posted. Talk to me about that strategy. Why haven't you, or what are your thoughts? And what's with
Yeah,
that?
so it's not that I don't see the value in YouTube. It's
Mhm.
just that number one, it's harder to drive traffic to a YouTube channel. I'm sure you've experienced this yourself. It's quite slow. It's hard to get new cold traffic. So
Yeah, right. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, you better go subscribe right now, guys. Sorry, just you're right. I
you
keep
heard him.
forgetting to
But
say
yeah,
that sort of thing. I
yeah,
I never say it, and then people say, "Well, maybe you should say it." So thank you for reminding me.
yeah. So but what I was saying, it's hard to get cold traffic to YouTube. Instagram, it's way easier to get views. For example, the video that blew up got viral. It wasn't viral, but it was 25,000 views. That's not a lot, but
That's not a
that
lot
actually
because
got me
I'm
some.
aspiring to that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
uh,
lot to me.
yeah, but like that got me business. I made money through that video. I think I booked 3 to 5 calls from that video, and it probably made me. I mean, it's one video, but it made me probably about 2,000, right?
Nice.
So that's the thing. What I noticed with Insta is that you can make videos. If you make good videos, they can get views, and you can get business through those. The other thing is that I do cold outreach on Instagram, which you may have noticed is that that's where I sent you the message.
Yes.
So when I send that message, I want you to be able to go to my profile and see my content there. But I'm not doing cold outreach on YouTube, so it won't be as relevant. And so it's not that I don't see the value in YouTube. It's definitely valuable. You get the ability to nurture your audience more with longer videos. A lot of my clients do YouTube. A lot of people I know have had success with it. But for me, I just wanted to focus on one funnel and one thing and scale it. And that's what, for example, Alex Ramosi said is you do one funnel, one avatar till 1 million. And that's sort of been my mentality. So I just want to make Instagram work. And if I can make Instagram work and it does really well, then maybe I can get into YouTube in the future. But for me, Instagram worked, and I've just kept doing that.
That's interesting. That could have saved myself a lot of work. But I've actually been enjoying meeting people, because who would have told me that, a year and a half ago I would be meeting you? That's part of the cool thing about doing podcasts. And it came about through you asking me, reaching out to me. But I can reach out to whoever I want, and they can say no. But interestingly enough, no one has said no yet. That's amazing to me. As a matter of fact, Jamil, who is Pace and he are, they have different businesses, but they're together a lot of the time, was the first person who is what I would call a high profile authority, asked me if he could come on my podcast. And I bawled like a baby almost. I couldn't believe it. I was just so surprised. But that is one of the nice things, is that I can reach out. And now you can do that with IG, but IG goes so fast that it's easier to miss. But
Yeah. Well, I've connected with a lot of people through IG, and then, you typically just take the conversation in the DMs, and then you book a call if it's interesting. So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
I see the value in YouTube for sure. It's just that I don't want to spread myself too thin.
That's
And I'd
smart.
rather focus on one thing and monetize that.
Right. You're lucky because you're of the generation where you guys are subjected to so much at a young age that you can develop a maturity that is well beyond my experience. I mean, I had, are you on Facebook?
If I have Facebook,
Yeah.
I have Facebook, yes, but I don't post there.
You don't post there. So it's only like, um,
I
I
have
don't know. Do
the
teenagers
account.
go on Facebook? Sorry to ask stupid questions, but do teenagers connect on Facebook these days?
No, no, not really. But most people have accounts.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, because I was pretty big before I came into Sub 2 on Facebook, just because my students, I was teaching ESL for 13 years, were from all over the world. And that's how they connected. Yeah, but they were on IG also, but basically YouTube, Facebook was the way that they all connected. And I still have a lot of my students on my Facebook. And I know IG is a lot bigger, and I had an IG account, but not much. I forgot I had an IG account. That's how bad I was. So I think it's interesting and good. It's an advantage for you to actually be using these tools and then be able to strategize and say, I think, that, yes, I need Jerry. That's true, Michelle, that you can water yourself down too much if you have both. And how do you, approach these things? You guys are well beyond my generation on that sort of thing. But it is interesting what happens when you have a mentor like Pace, and he literally almost had his hand on my shoulder, in the middle of my back, and said, "Go!" And I was like, "Really? Okay." And I went, and here I am a year and a half later, and still at it. So that's cool. But what about the other platforms like Twitter and all that stuff?
I don't use anything else than Instagram.
Interesting.
I
Do you have
have the
do you have a
accounts on some
Twitter
of them.
account?
Not myself, but like, so yeah, no, I don't have a Twitter account. Or I have one, but I never use it.
Interesting. Okay, and it's got to do with focus.
Yeah, it's just got to do with me seeing. I just don't feel like there's a reason to switch. I mean, maybe if you have infinite marketing resources and you have a bunch of money you can invest in your marketing and you can get people to run these platforms for you, then that's a good idea. But for me, I don't have that level of marketing resource, and it's better for me to just pour my focus into one platform. And it's not like I'm gonna run through all the people I can work with on Instagram and now I need to switch to Twitter. It's never gonna happen.
Right, right. And I'm very curious. How did you ever come across me? Because I consider myself a pretty small fish. How did you even know?
Yeah, so like I said, I've worked with someone in the sub 2 environment that you know. I've done stuff for other people in sub 2 as well. And I mean that just led me to finding you. I don't remember. I think I saw Mama Do followed you, something like that. And then I ended up finding you and then found your Instagram, saw some of your content, and then I reached out.
Interesting. Hi, Derek. Um, I reached out to Mamadou, and
He told
he,
me.
he called you.
No, he told me. He said Effie called me.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, he was really he said good things about you, and I thought that was pretty cool. And as a result, I'm getting him on my podcast, which is
Oh,
good.
really?
Yeah, sure,
Cool.
for sure. It'll be in December sometime, I think. So, hey, Derek, you should have your kids watch this when they're a little older. Because Siggy is in high school and he's doing pretty dang good. He's already at 5K a month, and who knows where it's going to go. And he's not 16 yet. He'll be 16 in a couple of days. Derek was a professional baseball player. So,
Really?
yeah. And by the way, they don't have to choose Derek. They can still do the baseball. I've seen your little ones on the field. I will do that. They should watch now. Yeah, that's right. They should. Yeah. But they're getting pretty good at hitting that ball, thanks to Daddy being so damn good. All right. Oh yeah, squat up. Yep. Speaking of squat up, I want to know, Siggy, in your arena of short form content and such, do you guys have conferences? Do you have places where people get together?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that have mentorships in the agency space, it's just like it is in real estate. So, I mean, there are a lot of them, but I just can't travel to them because I go to school. I'm 15, and that limits me.
And the market in Norway isn't big enough to have them there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of people that do this agency thing in Norway, and so
Oh, okay.
Norway's a pretty small country, so they're typically not hosted there. A lot of the events will either be in like UK, Spain, America, and so on.
Got it. Interesting. What's the population of Norway?
5 million.
Nice. That is comfy. it's
Yeah.
not. It's not like the U.S. or even Canada, but that's cool. That's cool. And how did you and Liam ever connect with him being in Australia?
Yeah, so he bought an editing course to learn editing, and I bought that same course to give to my editor. And so we connected there, and he ended up reaching out to me, and I started coaching him. So
Nice. Very nice indeed. I love it. So, guys, do you have any questions for Siggy? If you have a question, drop it in the chat. And what do you think I should be asking you?
well, that depends what they're interested in. Not sure.
That's interesting. I still want to know what you would ask Peter if you had the opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably ask him for advice. I'd probably ask him like what he would do in my position, what he's learned. I'd hear more about his story and just what's helped him, and just pick his mind and mindset, entrepreneurship, investing, and so on, and
Mhm.
building relationships.
Yeah. Is he? Do you know if he started young or if he came into it later?
He didn't start very young. I mean, he started like after he finished school basically, and he got into a shopping mall. He became sort of CEO of the shopping mall, and then he got equity in the shopping mall.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I like the idea that he has hotels. So Brandy says, "Thank you, Siggy, for being you and so mature to be inspiring to us older folks." Oh, and she went and followed you. So now she's going to learn everything. So now you have at least, you've got Mamadou, you got me, Brandy. You guys need to go follow him. Before long, we're going to lure him into sub two as soon as he's old enough.
Thank you, Brandy.
Yeah, that's very kind of you, Brandy. Thank you. So um, let me think. I got to go back to my questions because I've been replaying this a little bit. Interesting. If you had to choose another niche besides real estate, what would you choose?
Local businesses here in Norway.
Why local businesses?
Because there's so much potential in the Norwegian market. I've worked with people here, and the appointment booking rate is extremely high, and also the close rate is extremely high. The market is not saturated at all, and you become sort of indispensable when you can also film, and there's very little competition. So I mean, Norway's a very good place to run this business.
So, because you can go right down to the business and do the actual filming, and then do you do advertising too for them?
So what I've done is when I've worked here in Norway, I've worked for two real estate investors here in Norway. For one guy, we actually built the biggest real estate brand in Norway. He has
Wow.
45,000 followers now,
Wow.
and we have built up. So he's got 45,000 followers on TikTok. Then he has more on other platforms. But yeah, he launched a real estate course now. Now he's running ads for it. I've made some of the ads, but I think he scaled up the course to 6 figures in just off launch, just because we had that audience in place. So that's been fun. So I basically took real estate investors and I looked at the people who were in Norway, but there are not a lot of them. And then
Mhm.
also when I started working with him, he said, "Hey, you can't work with other real estate investors in Norway,"
He
because he
did?
was like, "Yeah." So we've had that on contract now.
Ah, you should have
So
said, I'll agree
I
if
said
you.
I'll agree if we have a 3-month contract and we increase the pay and we have this many videos. So
Oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
next time go for a commission.
Yeah.
If they hit big, that would be, like even if you took a small percentage, it would add up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it lives on the internet forever. That's interesting that he didn't want you to go to others. I always say, if you want to work with me, by all means, but you got to put me first. Then go do whatever else you want to. Like I think that that's a good way to go. That's one of the things I wondered about, and we'll see. Um, oh, very nice. Thank you, Christy. You're getting a couple of followers here. It is that I don't really like to do all my own shooting because I don't, it's hard enough for me when I catch a glimpse of myself. I try to just look at the guest because I didn't like and still don't really like being in front of the camera. So if you have someone who is in the business and they can film you, I think that would be a benefit, a big benefit. So, and I would pay for that, meaning local. But yeah, and that must be
Yeah.
fun.
So here in Norway, I've signed a lot of restaurants. What we do is we don't put the owner on camera. We hire in an extra to be on camera.
All right, got it. That's a smart idea. Smart idea.
Obviously,
And
that doesn't work if you're building a personal brand, but if you run a business, you just want to show off the business.
mhm, yeah, yeah. If you want to do a personal brand, you've got to include yourself. And Derek, speaking of personal brands, I love when you throw in the baseball bat in some of your marketing. Uh, you know, uh, Heck, you worked hard enough on that professional market. Why not? Although you don't identify yourself as a you know um, past professional baseball player. But yeah, I think that's cool. And oh, now this has got it. Okay, this name is a little suspicious. What kind of name is that? Are you in sub two?
Never
Probably not.
heard before, but yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyhow. All right. Well, I think that we are almost at time, guys. So if there's anything else you want to drop, if you want to say thank you to them, feel free to drop it now. And I think that this will be of good interest, especially to people who are. Oh, you are. Oh, thank you, Peter. I didn't wait. Pierre Robert, right? All right. I think it's a good thing for kids who are into computers to actually be able to see that you can make money. Not, I mean, you can be a professional game player too. I know they make money, but a lot sometimes, but there are very few of them. So it's kind of cool to use the tools that every business can use. So you're doing short form content for them. Are you, and the ads? Um, what about other things? Are you doing anything else pushing them? You do the posts and do the advertising for them?
Yeah, and also because my business is quite small, I have a lot of flexibility when it comes to helping these people. Let's say, for example, Mamadou, he'd be like, okay, I'm hiring someone new. I need this video out today. Can you get it done today? Right? He would send the video. And so that's the type of flexibility that I can have where it's not just a very strict deliverables under contract. I've closed some pretty big website deals too. They're great because they give me a lot of money up front, but they don't give me monthly retainer. So that's one of the reasons I like content is because I can get it on retainer. But yeah, it's been mainly content ads and design.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting when you have your own website too. Do you have a website?
I am building it right now. If you want to see a little preview.
Yes. Oh wait, let me see. Hold on. Hmm. No, I've never had a guest ask if they can share. So now I got it. I mean, I can share, but how do you share?
I can go present and then share screen.
Okay, try it.
So just go ahead and share my screen. If everyone can see, then this is where the website is being built in Figma, and then we're hosting it on Framer. And
Oh,
so,
oh, that's cool.
yeah, this is the one. So this is something that we're running for coaches, and we're going to build out their funnel. And so it looks like this. And then right here we have the deliverables, the metrics, and then we have testimonials and results. And then the founders. Then this is something that I'm really excited about, is that we have a custom calculator where they type in how many calls they're booking, their show rate, their close rate, and their offer price. And then it calculates automatically what they would be making with a 15% increase and also with a 25% increase. And so so they can see how much money they're leaving on the table by not having a good funnel.
Wow. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
then we just, so this is how it's built out. It's going to launch very soon. We're just doing the final revisions with the guy who's hosting it, and then it'll be out in a few days.
Cool. And will you be able to uh, show it like on? Can you share that that's what you're doing on IG?
Yeah, I'll be posting it when I'll be post the website when it's done. I'll post it on IG.
Awesome. Awesome. Very nice indeed. Well, guys, it's time for me to say goodbye. Next week, I have Alexis Morgan. Please do come. And, it's funny because we consider her the young one, but you're younger. And thank you very, very much for coming. Siggy, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.